Man, I could genuinely say I am happy to be a professional wrestling fan again. My name is Tubby Emu, and this is probably going to be one of the most decisive videos I've talked about, and that's because WWE, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey, and the WWE creative team, whether you want to give them credit or not, have created something so magical this year, reminiscent of Daniel Bryan. Now, for those of you that are fans of wrestling history, this is not the first time in wrestling it's happened. Going back to the Chris days. Yeah, I'm just going to say Chris because of everything that happened, but Chris found his way into that match. Randy Orton, Triple H, and John Cena found themselves in a triple threat match. Mick Foley found himself inserted into a WrestleMania main event, which was a fan favorite decision with the corporation back then trying to hold on to that title, desperately trying to hold on. Linda McMahon rode in on a horse, a white knight steed, and said, "Listen, Mick Foley, you've never been in a main event of WrestleMania. I'm adding you." And she would add him, and then ultimately the corporation would keep the title. You got what you wanted with Mick Foley, and the corporation got what they wanted, and it was still entertaining. Fast forward now almost 20 years, and you have a situation where for the first time in the last 5 years, there's a match in WWE I want to see more than anything. And that is a testament to WWE creative. Whether you want to agree with it or not, whether you simply look at it as Becky Lynch was overlooked all year and now she's being pushed. If they would have done this sooner, it would have been even better sooner, right? I think that's the common denominator, except the thing that made the Becky Lynch promos even better was the fact that she did have that deep down feeling that she may not be the man. As she's proclaiming she's the man, an injury cost her her Survivor Series main event. And that was a match that was built that Ronnie versus Becky Lynch we wanted for the first time. Like I said, in 5 years, I was like, oh, god damn, give me that as a WrestleMania main event. And that's where WWE has done their jobs. We've been very critical of WWE in the past couple years, but for the first time, we made something so epic, or got to witness something so epic, we wanted to see them in the main event of WrestleMania. That is an accomplishment that I think a lot of people are overlooking. Now, when it comes to that match, yes, Becky Lynch versus Ronnie is the match I think a lot of us want to see because it was the match that I think was pulled away from us. We already got to see Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, although it ended in disqualification. Now, the thing to remind yourself is years ago, it was leaked that Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey could potentially be a WrestleMania main event. It was leaked that Ronda versus Charlotte was going to happen last year. They pushed it. And what happened last year? As we thought that would be a good idea, all of us armchair bookers said, no, well, let's not do that this year. Let's save it. Let's do this, this, and this, and then next year we could do this, this, and this. But they didn't. WWE Creative went the route of putting Charlotte Flair, who is the champion, against Asuka, who won the Royal Rumble. Nobody was ready for Asuka. Asuka was this superstar that had an undefeated streak from NXT, that was built up by Triple H, that was basically meant to be the next big thing. And what happened? She won the Royal Rumble and she went to WrestleMania. And then again, all of us sat back in our armchair booking chairs. Nobody does that better than me. Hey, I'll be the first one to admit I book the stupidest stuff. But it's fun sometimes. That's the best thing about being a wrestling fan. But in that, we all said, we all started throwing out things. Well, if she loses, this has to happen, or this. No, it doesn't. Because I think we're seeing where WWE laid the groundwork for this years ago. And that's Paul Heyman and Charlotte and other superstars past interviews that said, women one day will main event WrestleMania. Now, when asked, who did those superstars say in the past 3 years would be the first woman to main event? Was it Bayley? Was it Sasha? No. It was Charlotte Flair. Whether you want to like it or not, Ric Flair was the dynasty of NWA. Ric Flair was the dynasty in any promotion he went to. It is his destiny to be on top, or was his destiny. Now his daughter, following in the footsteps of Ric Flair, is a multi-time champion. Defeated the streak at WrestleMania. For the past 3 years, everybody's been saying if there's going to be one woman to main event WrestleMania, it is going to be Charlotte Flair. So, save me your outrage that Charlotte Flair got added to the WrestleMania main event. You can save that. Because if you are the same person that criticizes WWE for never booking long-term, If they said she was going to be in the main event, right? Maybe this is WWE pulling a rib on us. Maybe I am completely out of left field, and maybe this is WWE getting back at us for... Yeah, remember how we wanted Batista versus Randy Orton? Yeah, I really wanted that match, but you guys wouldn't shut up, and I had to add Daniel Bryan, and you wrecked my entire plans, so I'm doing this to you this year. Some people actually believe that. But if you look at the storyline and the build to how Daniel Bryan was booked, you'd find out that it's pretty much always guaranteed that Daniel Bryan was heading to the main event of WrestleMania. He did the same thing. He got screwed at SummerSlam. The Authority kept burying him the entire time. He lost to Randy Orton. He kept losing. He got involved with the Wyatt family. Kind of went elsewhere, and then that momentum grew. That B-plus player being held down. So I 100% get Becky Lynch's skepticism when she misses her Survivor Series match against Ronda Rousey. She's ready for the match. She wants to go. She's going to tap her out. She's going to disarm her. And then she can't compete. Nia Jax, again, this is where it's perfect. They made us want this match, and Nia Jax fits in perfectly. Again, if you want to call me connecting dots, that's fine, but the dots are simple. Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax happened at WrestleMania. Nia Jax won the title. The very first person that faces Nia Jax for that title is Ronda Rousey, and Ronnie picks up the W. She's held that title now since she beat Nia Jax for that belt. Now, here's the interesting thing about this. My favorite thing about Ronda Rousey is her YouTube show where she's just having fun within the WWE. It honestly is. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Go check out her YouTube channel. And in there, you get to see her having fun and how much she cares about the fans. And there's rumors now that she could possibly be leaving to, go start a family. And I don't blame her. I can't control those decisions. All I know is I was always a fan of Ronda Rousey coming to WWE. I was always cheering for her. I never once had these doubts of Ronda Rousey's going to come in and fail. There was no way she was going to fail. And if you've seen that YouTube series, you know that. So yes, Becky Lynch versus Ronnie is the match we want. But this is where WWE's longer-term booking, I think, fits perfectly. Because Asuka's catchphrase is no one is ready for Asuka. Now, when Asuka ended up, losing to Charlotte Flair, and then Charlotte Flair had to go away. If you listen to JD from New York, and you can send him this clip. JD, this is what I want to tell you. You like to say this fact out loud that, WWE can't book for shit because Charlotte Flair had to drop the title because, she had a medical issue. She had to go get, stuff fixed. Perfectly fine and acceptable, so WWE had to drop the ball and kind of go a different route in the storyline. Carmella cashed in a briefcase. We had the reign of Carmella. We had Asuka, and Asuka worked with James Ellsworth. When was the last time somebody worked with James Ellsworth? Yeah, that'd be AJ Styles, and look how well that turned out for him. Now, Asuka, again, just like Becky Lynch, would get overlooked all year. She didn't do anything. And I think if you look at the last 8 years in WWE, when WWE didn't have a storyline, they didn't have any way to bring somebody back in, what did they go to? They went to a battle royale or a big match, and they crowned a number one contender. That number one contender would come in just to, face off at the pay-per-view. There would never be any storylines long-term for the Intercontinental, the U.S. title, for the most part, for the last 8 years. And then now Asuka won this match, and she came in and she shocked the world when she won. Why? Because no one is ready for Asuka. Charlotte Flair was ready for Asuka on the grandest stage of them all because it is her destiny. She is the dynasty of professional wrestling, whether you want to believe it or not. I love Becky. I love Bayley. I love Becky Lynch. All fantastic wrestlers. But that Flair name holds something more pristine. Charlotte Flair can be held on that pedestal, and she can be put in those positions. But if Becky Lynch is the next coming of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold one day will surpass Ric Flair. She will get more notoriety than Charlotte Flair. She will grab those headlines, but at the end of the day, the high-flying, wheeling-dealing Charlotte Flair will be there. She will be giving opportunities when others aren't, because she has proven time and time again when put in a difficult situation, she can accomplish what she has to. Yes. If WWE Creative had planned on Becky Lynch versus Ronda, and the Nia Jax incident was completely on accident, and WWE had to scramble to book it. Charlotte Flair losing by DQ perfectly sets up a triple threat for 5 months down the line, and it makes you want Ronda versus Becky Lynch because of what happened on TV. And now Charlotte Flair getting added seems really awkward, except it doesn't. The final point I want to leave you with is this. WWE and Triple H both said this is a new era and things are changing. We have every right to doubt them. But I have to ask a question. Why was Triple H and Stephanie McMahon just looking out for Becky Lynch with her injury? If Becky was hurt, she would have to get seen. Triple H forcing that on her to get checked out, there's nothing wrong with that. Becky Lynch and her cynicism, being skeptical about Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's motives, refused to do it. It led him on for weeks. But ultimately what it led to was Becky Lynch finally apologizing. Triple H and the Authority accepted it. Triple H and Stephanie said, thank you. Was that so hard? A lot of fans looked at it. This was the stupidest segment in the world. Why hold this over just to change it at the last minute? Well, last year, the match Vince McMahon wanted was Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. This year, Becky Lynch took a spot away from somebody else, and we're going to talk about that in a separate video because Becky Lynch, as much as you want her, took away Lana's moment, and if you haven't seen Lana crying on YouTube, I highly suggest you go do it. What I want to say is this. I truly believe right now that Triple H might have saw something himself in Becky Lynch. That he might deep down know that Becky Lynch has that shot. He's not going to overlook somebody like a Daniel Bryan like he did before as a B-plus player. He was willing to let bygones be bygones because Becky Lynch did slap his wife. Becky Lynch attacked Triple H. So it makes all the sense in the world that he would hold him accountable. You have to. If you are running a business and you are the Authority and your employees speak out, Triple H did what he had to do. And then Vince McMahon came out, setting up the rift between Vince McMahon and Triple H. Hopefully, WWE follows this up on Monday Night Raw, and if they don't follow it up on Monday Night Raw, then it's completely asinine, and I will agree with you. But as for right now, if you look at where WWE is headed, it looks like we're going to be Triple H versus Vince McMahon because Triple H was willing to accept Becky Lynch. Vince McMahon said, no, I want the dynasty. I'm not saying we're going to see Triple H and Vince or Stephanie in one of the superstars' corners. I'm not saying the 4 horsewomen are going to back up Ronda Rousey in this triple threat match. I'm not saying I don't want to see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey in a one-on-one match, less than I want to see the triple threat. But this story is bigger than Ronnie and Becky Lynch. This story is bigger than Becky Lynch having a couple good months. This was Charlotte Flair's destiny. And while it may be her destiny, things don't always go to plan for Ric Flair. And they didn't always. Even though he was given those opportunities, some superstars came in and smashed the glass ceiling, kissed that brass ring, and became the face of WWE. That very well could be Becky Lynch. So enjoy the ride, and I couldn't be happier to watch Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. Because as of right now, Becky Lynch isn't even in the match. Maybe she shouldn't have taken out Lana. Hopefully it stays a one-on-one match. I think that would tick a lot of people off. But when it ultimately gets turned into a triple threat match and we all exclaim, we knew it. Well, you should have known it. They were supposed to have a one-on-one match and it ended in a DQ and Survivor Series. Guys, this isn't rocket science. It's WWE. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Hey, maybe it was completely asinine. You didn't agree with anything I said. That's fine. But if you did, let me know in the comment section below what you're looking forward to most between Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey in this saga heading into WrestleMania.